Good morning or afternoon, third graders. Welcome back to Math with Mrs. Halverson. Today we're talking about estimation. So we're on Unit 2, Chapter 3, or Chapter 3, Unit 2, 2.3, estimation. So to estimate means to roughly calculate or judge the value, number, quantity, or extent of. So if you're ever at the store, so I went shopping yesterday and I wanted to buy some gift wrap, and I bought a bow and I bought a card, okay? So I had to quickly estimate in my head how much money that I was going to be spending. So let's look. I had in my shopping cart a roll of gift wrap that was $5.99. I had a bow for the package that was $2.99, and I had a card that was $3.99. Okay, so I don't want to go into my phone, into my calculator, and do all of that. So I rounded these to the nearest dollar. So my $5.99 gift wrap became $6. My $2.99 bow became $3. And my $3.99 bow, or $3.99 card, became $4. So I know that 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 3 is $13. And so my total ended up being something like 14 something after tax. But I knew that I was going to be spending around $15. Okay? So this is a good example of why we might want to estimate something. So the closer the number is to whatever you rounded to, the better your estimation. What on earth do you mean by that, Mrs. Halverson? Well, if we're going to estimate 732 plus 94, okay, if we round this to the nearest 10, we have 730 plus 90, and we get what? 820. Okay, so that's an estimation by rounding to the nearest 10. Well, let's round to the nearest 100 now. 732 is rounded down to 700. 94 would be rounded up to 100. That will give us 800. Okay. Now, just for fun, let's round to the nearest 1,000. 732 and rounded to the nearest 1,000 is 1,000. 94 would round down to 0, so we have 1,000. So I'm going to predict that when we round to the nearest 10, it's the most accurate, and here's why. 730 is closer to 732 than 700 is to 732. Does that make sense? 90 is closer to 94 than 100 is to 94. Okay, so let's find our actual answer. 732 plus 94. 2 plus 4 is 6. 30 plus 90 is 120. 100 plus 700 is 800. So 826. I was right. It's closest to 820. Now, you need to ask yourself, after you estimate and then find the real answer, you want to ask yourself, is my answer reasonable? Okay, so I would say all of these answers are reasonable if you're talking about rounding to the nearest 100 to the nearest 1,000. Okay, if it's within 50 of the nearest 100, I would say it's a reasonable answer. If it's in 200 of the nearest 1,000, I'd say it's a reasonable answer. Okay, if you got something like this, that's way off all of them. okay? So that would not be a reasonable answer. So today on your homework, you're going to be asked to round to the nearest 100 and then solve. Now remember, when we're rounding to the nearest 10, it's most accurate. But when we're rounding to the nearest 100, it's easier. And all you're really doing is looking to see if your answer is reasonable. Okay, so let's do a couple together. Let's do okay, let's start off with 347 plus 210. The directions say to round to the nearest 100 and then solve. Okay, so we would round 347 to what? We're rounding to the nearest 100. If you need help, you draw a number line. Okay, so we know that 347 is in between 300 and 400. We always put the 350 in the middle. It would be on this side of 350. So we know that we round down to 300. 300 plus, you probably all know what 210 would be rounded to, right? We wouldn't round that to 300. No, we would round down to 200. Okay, so round down to 200, which equals 500. Okay, let's try to do this one without a number line. Let's be thinking about that poem that we know. So when we're rounding to the nearest 100, we want to look at these numbers. Because we go to the hundreds, look behind, underline. 5 or more, you add 1 more. Okay, 5 or more, you add 1 more. 500 plus 800. We know 5 plus 8 is 13, so it'd be 13 and then 2 zeros, so 1,300. Okay, so here are our estimates. Okay, we have 500 up here, 1,300 down here. Now let's check to see if our answers are reasonable. Okay, so we have 347 plus 210. 7 plus 0 is 7. 40 plus 10 is 50. 300 plus 200 is 50. Is this a reasonable answer? I would say yes, because it's within 100 of this 100. I know before I said if it's within 50, it would be a reasonable answer. But since these make us a little bit higher, I still think that this is a reasonable answer. So let's change that to, if it's within 100 of your estimate, when you're rounding to the nearest 100, then it's a reasonable answer, okay? Now let's look down here. Our estimate is 1,300. We have 472, and we're adding 719. 2 plus 9 is 11. 10 plus 7 is 80. 80 plus 10 is 90. 400 plus 700 is 1,100. All right. Is that a reasonable answer? I would say yes. If it's within a couple hundred, then I think that we're good, right? Okay. Awesome. Oopsies. No, that's not a reasonable answer. Remember, we have to be in the within 100. Mrs. Halverson made a mistake here. What's the mistake? Do you see it? So this is our equation. 472 plus 791. But I made a mistake here. I wrote 719. That's right, no wonder it was so off. And scholars, that's exactly why we estimate. Because Mrs. Halverson was trying to convince herself that that was a reasonable answer, but I said, but we rounded to the nearest 100, so it should be within 100, but it wasn't, was it? It wasn't within 100. So let's try this again. 2 plus 1 is 3. 7 plus 9 is 16. So 70 plus 90 is 160. 100 plus 400 is 500. 500 plus 700 is 1200. There, that's much better. That's within 100 of our estimate. Nice. I'm sure that many of you caught that even before I did. Now let's do 2 together. Well, we're gonna do 1 together and then 1 on your own of estimating using subtraction. So let's do this one first. Too many 700s. Okay, and then okay, so first we need to round these to the nearest 100, right? Let's do our poem quick. Look behind, underline. 5 or more, you add 1 more. 4 or less, you let it rest. So this rounds down to 900. And then for this one, let's do a number line just so we're practicing both strategies. We know 372 is between 300 and 400. 350 is right here. 372 would be like right there. You can see it's closer to 400. So this would round to 400. 900 minus 400 is 500. So there's our estimate for that one. Okay. 497, I'm just gonna assume that you all know, oops, you're gonna do that on your own. I forgot. Now let's check our answer. Let's see if our answer is reasonable. So 500 is our estimate. 943 minus 372. 3 minus 2 is 1. 40 minus 70, can't do it. We go to the hundreds. This 900 becomes an 800. This 40 becomes a 140. 140 minus 70 is 70. 800 minus 300 is 500. So 571 is our answer. Is it within that 100? So is it a reasonable answer? Yes. It's within 100. All right, let's erase that. Just so we have enough room. Oopsie. I remember what it said. All right, pause your device and do this by yourself. First, you're going to estimate your answer. Oops. First, you're going to estimate your answer. Then you're going to find the real answer. And then you're going to ask yourself, is this answer reasonable? So is it within 100 of what you estimated? If it's not, then you probably made a mistake somewhere. So try again. Go ahead, pause your device. 497 minus 312. Round it to the nearest 100 to estimate, and then solve. Welcome back, third graders. So 497 you probably found, rounded to 500. Round it up, right? Because we have a 9. 312 rounds down because we have a 1 there. So 500 minus 300 is 200. Okay, let's see if our answer is reasonable. 7 minus 2 is 5. 90 minus 10 is 80. 400 minus 300 is 100. So our answer is 185. Is this a reasonable answer? Yes, it is. It's within 100 of what we estimated, so that is a reasonable answer. All right, scholars, so you have a bunch of problems like that in your homework today. So Good luck with that. If you need any help with estimation, make sure that you visit your math teacher's office hours. If you're in my math class, my office hours are from 9 to 10 in the morning and 1:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon. All right, friends, I'll see you next time in math. Bye.